Hey Star family, let's get into episode 6 of Love is Blind. So, Raven and SK finally did the deed. They had a good night but a rough morning because Raven did not have her coffee and she could not work that coffee maker, and SK was on the phone really late and really early in the morning talking to his family from Nigeria, and SK is just like, well, there is a time difference, so I'm going to be talking to my family at different times of the day and night. And Raven is just like, I'm not okay with that, but you know what, hold off, let me get my coffee so we can have this conversation in much better spirits. And I'm glad that she made that decision because Raven and SK were doing so well, and it looked like they were on the brink of breaking up because Raven did not have her coffee. I'm still rooting for them. I thought that this was a real moment. This is their first time living together. This was their first night together. They're figuring it out. There's going to be some bumps and bruises along the way, but these two, I have not watched ahead, but I have high hopes for them. Nancy, your name is on a home that you will be responsible for if anything happens to it. If the mortgage doesn't get paid, if somebody tries to sue that property, you are responsible for it, but you are not making any income from the home as of today because you agreed with your ex that that house was going to be his sole income, even though your name is on it with him as well. So Bartise is not an isolated incident. You are like this all the time with men in relationships. Sis, we gotta unpack that. Are you in a good place with your dad? Like, what is going on? I really want to figure out what, and maybe I'll find out in the later episodes, but there is something absolutely going on with Nancy, something that she's missing because she allows a lot of mistreatment from men, and I'm just curious as to why, because this is abnormal. And since we're here, let's talk about it. Nancy was absolutely buying Bartise's affection in that conversation about the properties that she owned and the money that she was going to make. Because in this episode, the couples are going back to each other's homes and they're assessing how the other lives. And this is important because they fell in love in the pods. They do not know each other outside of the pods. So it's important to see how your partner lives because all of that goes into your decision making on your wedding day. So Nancy took Bartise to one of her rental properties that she shares with her partner, and then they had this conversation about finances because at this point Bartise is now looking for outs with Nancy, right? Giving her reasonings. The first thing was he's physically more attracted to Raven. The second out for Bartise is, oh, well, you share a property with your ex. You did not tell me that. He's also your business partner and you're a lot more involved than you told me. Bartise doesn't care about that, right? But he does care about using this as a way to distance himself from Nancy because he is more physically attracted to Raven. He wants to use these outs that he's finding with Nancy to be the reason why he does not say yes on their wedding day. But the truth of the fact of the matter is, he is no longer attracted to Nancy because he is seeing Raven. Nancy knows that, right? That's why she's leading now with money. She couldn't tear Raven down in Bartise's mind to make him see her less than, right? He was not tearing Raven down and putting her on a pedestal. She tried. She tried that when she was talking down to Raven with him. That didn't work. So now Nancy is going to buy Bartise's affection. That's why she had that whole conversation that, oh, my money that I make is our money. And let's say I get a property, that property is going to be, it might be in my name, but I'm going to make sure that it's in your name as well. And that is going to be our property. So if I make $300,000 off of that property, that won't just be my money, that'll be our money. Then we cut to Bartise's confessional and he was picking up exactly what Nancy was putting down. He was just like, yeah, 150K is going to be a lot of money. That's really a good investment. So, you know, I really like Nancy saying that because I know in this relationship there's going to be financial security. So Nancy knew what she was doing, he knew what she was doing, and he was okay with it because that is who he is, right? He's not attracted to Nancy, but he's attracted with what she can do for him. Bartise, the 25 is showing. You tried to fool us with that, but buddy, we can see you. You are shallow and you are too young to be in a relationship. You need to mature, you need to be humbled, and you need to realize that you are not the prize in the relationship. It's always the woman, especially when it's concerning you. Speaking of stay-at-home husbands, did Brennan say that he wanted to be a stay-at-home dad? Because when Brennan and Alyssa were talking about finances, he was like, yeah, you obviously make more money than me, but that's fine because I want to be the dad that's at home. I want to be the dad that's at my kids' game and coaching my kids' soccer practice. And I was like, are you telling Alyssa that you want to be a stay-at-home dad? I'm sorry, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a woman taking care of a man. I'm just saying, I don't think that's Alyssa. I do not think that is Alyssa Brennan. Dial it back, bro, because I think you losing her with this conversation. So we meet SK's mom and brother this episode, and my God, SK's mom is so beautiful. She is his twin, and she was so sweet and kind and very accepting of Raven. I was a bit nervous, right? I was a bit nervous because I did not think that his mom would be okay with this process. I'm not saying I don't think she's okay with arranged marriage, because I think that is something that's very prevalent within the Nigerian culture. But this is an American twist on arranged marriage. So I was not sure how she would feel about that. But I think she knows that she raised a great kid and she trusts his judgment. And she was very sweet and welcoming to Raven, even when Raven, in my opinion, was being a little ignorant, right? Because let's talk about them sitting down and eating a traditional Nigerian dish. Raven, the way she was looking at how they were eating, oh, I was like, Raven, no, don't do that. She was like, that's how you eat it? That is not the way that you should act in front of your fiance's family. And also, that is not how you should react to someone sharing their cultural foods with you. Because the way that you were acting, even if that's how you felt, there was a better way to present your lack of knowledge about the food that was presented to you. But it was just her behavior and her reactions and things she was saying, and she was like, how do you eat that? Oh, no, I'm not gonna eat it like that. Can I get a fork? Is that okay? I don't want to eat it like that. And I was just like, I understand. I absolutely understand. I just think she could have went about it a different way. And let's talk about SK, because I will say this. I felt like SK was responsible partly for Raven's behavior, because this should not have been the first time that she witnessed a Nigerian dish being made and that she tasted a Nigerian dish. At this point in your relationship, she should have been in the kitchen helping you make these things. You should have answered the bulk of her questions before she got to the place where she met her family, because I feel like this was preventable, right? Raven's behavior and reaction towards the traditional Nigerian dish could have been prevented if she was already prepped in that area. Now, maybe you guys just didn't have a lot of time and SK was just like, let me prep you for the more important things. How you react to us eating our food with our hands, that's just for later, but let me get down to the brass tacks of things and let me just take care of that because I don't have enough time for this. That could also be the case. But later on in the episode, we find out that SK eats Nigerian food on a daily basis. So I'm just like, this could have been prevented, my boy. This could have been prevented. Still rooting for them, still love them, still my only and favorite couple this season. I feel bad for Raven that her family does not support this process, but I understand. I don't see a lot of families being okay with their family member getting married like this, because reality TV is exploitive. Any way you slice it, it's exploitive. So I get the family not really trusting and understanding this process and not wanting their opinions to be filmed. I get it and I understand, but I just felt bad that she just did not have anybody in her corner and will not have anybody that is of her family on her wedding day. Very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate, but I understand. Let's talk about Nancy's brothers clocking Bartise from jump. Those brothers do not trust Bartise. They see him for who he is. And I feel like they've been here with Nancy before concerning the men that she has dated. The mom clocked Bartise as well. They all could see him. But I think that they've been in this space before with Nancy. So everybody is used to turning a blind eye in front of Nancy, but getting that person together in private because they see who that person is. I'm so glad for Nancy that she has the kind of family that she has, because as bubbly and innocent and cute as Nancy is, there are so many predators out there like Bartise, and I'm speaking in a predatory way of like taking advantage of someone mentally and financially, and we see Bartise doing that to Nancy this season. So that's how I'm speaking of predatory. But there are so many predatory people out there who will use and abuse people's kindness and take it for weakness and take advantage of them. And I think if Nancy did not have the kind of family that she had, I think she would just have been through far worse relationships had her family not been able to warn her or protect her or pick her up after, you know, she's been taken advantage of by her partners. But I don't think that Bartise is the first guy like this that she's dated. I think the family is used to it at this point, which is why they were ready for Bartise at the door. And I thank the Lord that she got them brothers and that Bell Bond's mother in her corner. Another person who broke my heart this episode was Zenab. My heart really went out to her. She has experienced so much loss before she even turned the age of 20. Before she became a woman, she had already lost her parents. It was living with her stepmother, who was of another culture, in an area that it was very obvious that the people in that area did not look like her. I love the conversation that Zenab's stepmom had with Cole, because she was just like, you have to reassure my daughter that you love her and that you are here for her, because she's thinking that with you rejecting her or telling her certain things, or, you know, saying that your family is not a part of this process, she thinks that something is wrong with her because of that, right? The mom was very specific about the things that she mentioned. She was just like, is he not attracted to me? Does his family not like me because of the color of my skin? Am I too different for him? So she was explaining to Cole what Zenab's insecurities are, and I think that those insecurities developed in Zenab as a child, probably living in an area where she does not see herself. And because she does not see herself and she is the odd woman out, she probably felt unattractive because she was not pursued like the other girls who did not look like her. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Her stepmother, who, you know, takes the place of her mother, was very open and honest with Cole, and I hope that he heard her. I hope that he heard her. I feel like he didn't, but, you know, one can only hope. Now, let's talk about Raven and SK's finances. I love me some SK. I love me some SK. I think he is the superior dude on this show. But why would you sign up to be a part of a show where you will be married at the end of this if you are in no position to financially take care of a wife and a family? That was just very bizarre to me, especially as a Nigerian man. I was just like, why would you sign up for this? Like, what is happening? Were you, like a lot of other people, not taking this process serious and not thinking that you would get picked? Or were you not really in the space to be married, and then you met Raven and started to have real feelings? Like, what is this? I'm like, you're a whole student about to move to California to finish out your master's. Why are you in Texas looking for a wife? I love him, but it made no sense. And then he's telling Raven, oh, me and you are going to have to live like, you know, we're students. And Raven's like, no, I'm a grown woman and I have built a brand and a business and I am able to live a certain way. I am not going to live beneath what I built for myself. And I am on her side. I'm sorry, SK. You are wrong in this one, brother. I cannot rock with you. Team Raven concerning the finances. And where you're going to live. How do you expect her to uproot her life and live somewhere else? Although, side note, Raven, you will do good in LA, but I get what you're saying. How do you expect her to uproot her life and move with you to LA, way more expensive than Texas, and to live beneath what she has been living in Texas, leave her business and her clientele, and live student poor with you in LA? How do you expect her to do that when you pursued her in Texas? It doesn't make any sense, SK. I love you, but come on, brother, think. You gotta think. Let's be for real. All these reality TV shows need to stop casting men, especially the marriage and relationship reality TV shows. You guys need to stop casting men who are in no way able to afford a wife and a family, because that is essential in a relationship. That is a necessity. And if they cannot even afford to pay for themselves, why in the hell are you looking for a wife? Which is probably one of the most expensive adventures you will ever go on in your life. But I have to say this, in defense of SK, Raven, SK did let you know in the pods that he was strapped and that he was a student and that he would be making his way to LA to finish out his master's. So you knew that as well and still pursued this relationship with him. I don't know, maybe you both did not think that it would get this far. That's the only thing that is making sense right now. Maybe you both thought that, yeah, I'll just do this and go along with it and it won't get to a point where this will affect me personally. But I think because you two are starting to fall in love, this where we're going to live and how we're going to survive financially conversation is coming up and taking you both by storm, because you weren't prepared for it, because I don't think either one of you thought that you would make it out of the pods, to be quite honest with you. What do you guys think? Let's talk about it in the comment section below. Let's talk about Nancy and Bartise and the abortion conversation. I think that Nancy should not have had this conversation on camera. Here is why. Any way you slice it, even if Nancy had good intentions, her comments about wanting to abort a child because the child is disabled is ableist. It is. You are saying that that child does not deserve life because you believe that they'll have a hard life. I wish you would have picked another topic because I felt like Nancy was maybe making great points. It's when she landed on disabled children for me that took me out of the conversation with her. And I was like, oh, I can agree. And I think that this is a conversation that you probably should not have had on camera, right? In saying that her views are her views, I do not fault her for it, but I was just like, sis, I was riding with you till we got to disabled children just do not deserve life because it's going to be difficult, and I've seen how difficult it's been for the parents. Have we checked in on the disabled person? Like, I don't know. I just felt like if I was a part of the disabled community, I would feel some sort of way about that. That's where I am with that. If you have a difference of opinion and you could provide more clarity on what Nancy was saying, because that was a long conversation that was cut up. So a lot more context could have been put to that. But that is what I took out of the conversation, and I was just like, I was with you, but I can't be with you on this one. Unfortunately for Nancy, she gave Bartise another out, which was the abortion conversation. I, for one, do not think that Bartise would not be able to make a relationship work with a woman who was pro-choice because he is supposedly pro-life. But I think he's going to make it a problem with Nancy because he does not want to be with her, because Bartise is Mr. Pro-Life, but then you get him in the confessional and he's just like, I also bought a couple of Plan Bs before in my life, but that's like different. Yeah, because it affects you. So you're saying that it's okay for you to have a choice, but not anybody else that you feel like you can reign over, right? But when it comes to you, you can buy all the Plan Bs you want. But when Nancy says, I think it's up to the woman and her partner to make that decision, all of a sudden it's a problem. I don't think he's pro-life at all. I think he's pro-Bartise, and I think he is going to use this conversation with Nancy as another out for him and this relationship, because he does not want to be with Nancy. He wants to be with Raven. Even though Raven shut the door to him, I think that he still thinks that he has a shot because Bartise is that guy. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about this episode. What do you guys think? Let's talk about it in the comment section below. And if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you in another video for something else. Love ya. Bye. Mwah.